There are moments when a woman tells you absolutely nothing, and somehow you walk away feeling like she said everything. That silence stays with you. Not because you're overthinking, because something inside you noticed a pattern your mind couldn't explain. You replay the conversation. Her words sounded normal, but her eyes, the way she stood, the tiny pause before she answered, the smile that appeared, then disappeared almost immediately. You tell yourself it probably meant nothing. Still, you remember it days later. If you've ever caught yourself wondering why some women seem impossible to read while others somehow reveal everything without speaking much at all, stay with me. And if these quiet observations help you see people a little more clearly, consider subscribing, because we're going to explore the parts of human connection that often go unnoticed. Most people believe body language is about obvious signs: crossed arms, smiling, eye contact. Those things matter, but they rarely tell the whole story. Real attraction, real uncertainty, real emotional conflict. They usually live in much smaller movements, the kind that happen before someone realizes they're moving at all. I've watched this happen for years. Not inside perfect love stories, inside ordinary moments, coffee shops, waiting rooms, office hallways, family gatherings, places where people aren't trying to impress anyone. That's where the most honest body language appears, because people can control their words much longer than they can control their instincts. Imagine this. You're talking to a woman at a friend's birthday. She's laughing with everyone, comfortable, relaxed. Then you join the conversation. For less than a second, she straightens her posture, almost too quickly to notice. Then she's relaxed again. Most men never remember that moment, but somehow, it stays in the back of your mind. Why? Because your brain is constantly collecting emotional clues long before you consciously understand them. Often, posture changes aren't about attraction alone. Sometimes they're about awareness. Someone suddenly becomes more aware of how they're being seen. That awareness can come from curiosity, respect, nervousness, interest, or simply wanting to make a good impression. Notice what didn't happen. She didn't announce anything. She didn't flirt dramatically. Nothing looked like a movie scene. And that's exactly why it matters. The strongest emotional signals usually arrive quietly. There's another moment that's even more interesting. You're speaking. She isn't interrupting. She isn't smiling constantly either. She's simply still, almost unusually still. Many men mistake this for boredom. Sometimes it is, but sometimes stillness means something completely different. When people are emotionally engaged, they often stop thinking about how they look. Their attention narrows. Their body becomes quieter because their mind is busy. You can see it when someone forgets to check their phone, forgets to scan the room, forgets everyone else exists for just a few seconds. Those seconds, they're easy to miss, and yet they're often far more meaningful than exaggerated flirting, because attention is one of the rarest things people give each other today. But before you assume every quiet moment means she's interested, there's something almost nobody notices. The exact same body language can come from completely different emotions: interest, shyness, uncertainty, respect, even feeling slightly intimidated. That's where so many men become confused. They stop observing and they start guessing. The difference between those two habits changes everything, because the most emotionally intelligent men aren't the ones who think they know what every signal means. They're the ones who stay curious just a little longer. And there's one tiny movement, so small that most people never even remember seeing it. Yet once you recognize it, ordinary conversations begin to look completely different. There's a strange moment that happens in conversations. It lasts less than a second. Most people never remember it. Yet afterward, they somehow feel closer to someone, or strangely distant, without knowing why. It begins just after eye contact breaks, not during it. After. Picture yourself standing outside a cafe. The conversation is easy, nothing dramatic is happening. She looks at you while you're talking, then glances away for a moment. Perfectly normal. But instead of immediately looking around the room, checking her phone, or searching for another distraction, her eyes drift downward, almost as if she's letting your words settle before returning to the world around her. It's such a quiet detail that hardly anyone notices it consciously. And yet, in many cases, People naturally soften their gaze when they're emotionally processing what someone has said. That doesn't automatically mean attraction. It can also happen when someone feels safe, curious, or unexpectedly understood. The important part isn't the movement itself, it's the emotional rhythm behind it. Human beings don't only communicate with expressions, we communicate with timing. Timing reveals things words often hide. You can see this in another situation. You're telling a story. Nothing extraordinary, just something that happened during your week. Halfway through, you hesitate because you can't remember one detail. You stop speaking, only for a second. Now watch carefully. Some people rush to fill that silence, others look away, but occasionally, someone simply waits. No pressure, no awkward smile, no attempt to rescue the conversation. They let you find your words. That kind of patience is surprisingly intimate. It says, without saying anything, I'm still here. Many men underestimate how meaningful that feels. Not because it proves romantic interest, because genuine attention has become so rare. Think about your own life. How often does someone actually wait for you to finish thinking? Not to reply, not to impress you, just wait. Probably less often than you deserve. And when someone does, you notice, even if you can't explain why. There's another body language habit that creates endless confusion: mirroring. You've probably heard people say that if a woman copies your movements, she's attracted to you. Sometimes. But reality is far more interesting than that. People naturally mirror those they feel comfortable with. Friends do it. Family members do it. Couples do it. Even complete strangers can begin matching each other's posture during an enjoyable conversation without realizing it. It's less about romance, more about emotional connection. Imagine you're both leaning against a railing. A few minutes later, she shifts her weight. Without thinking, you do the same. Or maybe it's the other way around. Neither of you planned it, neither of you noticed, but your nervous systems quietly adjusted to each other. It's one of those little reminders that human connection often happens beneath awareness. And maybe that's why trying to force attraction almost never works. Real comfort can't be performed. People usually sense the difference. You've probably experienced this yourself. Someone tried a rehearsed compliment. Perfect words, perfect smile, perfect confidence, and somehow, it felt empty. Then another person stumbled over a sentence, laughed at themselves, looked slightly embarrassed, and somehow they felt more genuine, more real. Body language isn't separate from personality. It grows out of it. Confidence without warmth often creates distance. Warmth without confidence can create uncertainty. But when someone feels comfortable enough to be imperfect, their body usually relaxes before their words do. There's one moment I always find fascinating. A woman laughs, then almost immediately, she looks at you, not because the joke was funny, but because for one brief second, she's checking whether the experience was shared, whether you're laughing too, whether you understood it the same way she did. That tiny glance isn't a secret code. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it often reminds us of something deeply human. People don't just enjoy moments, they enjoy sharing moments. And that difference changes relationships more than most advice ever talks about. Still, none of these signs matter as much as the signal almost everyone overlooks. Ironically, it usually appears when the conversation is about to end. That's when emotions become much harder to hide, and where the quietest truths often begin to reveal themselves. The end of a conversation is where people often become the most honest, not because they decide to be, because they're no longer focused on making the conversation happen. They're simply reacting. And reactions, those are harder to rehearse. Think about the last time you said goodbye to someone who mattered to you. You probably remember the words. Take care. See you. Drive safe. Simple things. But if you really think about it, the words weren't what stayed with you. It was everything around them. Did they leave quickly? Did they hesitate? Did they look back? Did they seem relieved the conversation was over? Or almost reluctant to let it end? Those tiny moments can reveal emotional comfort more clearly than the entire conversation that came before. Imagine you're walking together after meeting some friends. You've reached the parking lot. There's no reason to keep talking. Everything that needed to be said has already been said. You smile. So, I'll see you later. She nods. Then neither of you moves. Just for a second. It's almost awkward. Almost. But not quite. That pause isn't proof of attraction. Sometimes people pause because they're thinking. Sometimes because they're shy. Sometimes because they simply don't want to break a pleasant moment too quickly. Human emotions don't always announce themselves with certainty. Often, they whisper. Another detail almost nobody notices happens during goodbye. Feet. Yes, feet. It sounds strange until you begin paying attention. When someone is mentally preparing to leave, their body usually begins turning toward the direction they're about to go. That's natural. But every now and then, their feet point one way, while their shoulders remain facing you, almost as if part of them has already left, while another part isn't finished with the moment. This doesn't automatically mean romantic interest. It can also happen between close friends or family members. The point isn't to decode someone like a puzzle. The point is to notice that emotions often appear before decisions do. Our bodies sometimes reveal hesitation before our minds even understand it, and hesitation isn't always weakness. Sometimes it's attachment, sometimes curiosity, sometimes hope. There's another moment that's surprisingly revealing. You begin walking away. You don't turn around immediately. You simply leave. A few seconds later, something tells you to glance back. Not because you're expecting anything, just because you look over your shoulder and she's already looking, or maybe she looked away the instant you turned. Either way, that brief exchange has probably happened to millions of people. Does it always mean attraction? No. Sometimes people naturally watch others leave. Sometimes they're simply lost in thought. But in many cases, when someone feels emotionally connected, even in a small way, they remain mentally present for a few moments after the interaction ends. Their attention doesn't switch off instantly, neither does yours. That's why certain conversations follow you home. Nothing dramatic happened, no confession, no grand romantic gesture, just something felt unfinished. And unfinished emotions have a remarkable way of staying alive in memory. Have you noticed that? The conversations you forget are usually the ones that ended neatly. The ones you replay? Those are different. They're the conversations where one sentence almost came out, where one look lasted a little longer, where silence seemed to contain something neither person could quite name. Those moments linger because the human mind dislikes uncertainty. It wants closure, it wants answers, it wants to know, what did that really mean? Sometimes there isn't a clear answer. And oddly enough, accepting that uncertainty is often what makes someone emotionally mature. Because trying to force certainty where none exists usually creates stories that reality never promised. But there is one body language habit that deserves more attention than almost any other, not because it's dramatic, because it's incredibly difficult to fake for long. It has nothing to do with smiling, nothing to do with touching, nothing to do with flirting. In fact, most men overlook it because they're searching for something much louder. And once you begin noticing this quiet pattern, you'll understand why some connections feel effortless, while others never seem to move beyond polite conversation, no matter how many good signs appear. The body language that changes everything is rarely the one people search for. It's not a lingering touch. It's not playing with her hair. It's not whether she crossed her legs toward you. Those things can happen for dozens of reasons. The signal I'm talking about is much quieter. Consistency, not excitement. Consistency. That may sound almost disappointing until you see it. Imagine you meet a woman at a friend's barbecue. You talk for 10 minutes. She smiles. The conversation feels easy. You leave thinking, that went well. A week later, you see her again. This time, nothing is different. She greets you with the same warmth, the same relaxed energy. She remembers that small story you told about your dog. Not perfectly, just enough to show it stayed with her. Another week passes. Again. Nothing dramatic. She isn't trying to impress you. She isn't suddenly acting distant either. She's simply the same. There's something deeply comforting about people whose body language doesn't swing wildly from one moment to the next. It creates emotional safety. Often, attraction grows more easily inside safety than inside confusion. Some men spend months chasing intense signals. A long stare, a playful tease, a compliment they can't stop thinking about. Meanwhile, they overlook the woman who consistently enjoys talking to them every single time. Because consistency isn't exciting at first, it's quiet, almost ordinary. But many lasting relationships begin in ordinary moments that quietly repeat themselves. Now think about the opposite. One day she's leaning in. The next day she barely looks at you. Then she's warm again, then distant. Your mind immediately starts searching for answers. Did I say something wrong? Was she interested yesterday but not today? Should I text? Should I wait? Sometimes those changes have nothing to do with you. People carry invisible stress. Work, family, exhaustion, old heartbreaks. Life doesn't disappear just because attraction might exist. This is where emotional maturity becomes so important. Instead of asking, what does this one signal mean? A healthier question is, what's the overall pattern? Patterns usually tell a more honest story than isolated moments. There's another behavior that's easy to misunderstand. A woman asks you questions, real questions, not polite ones. What do you actually enjoy doing? What made you choose that job? What was that like for you? Notice the difference. She's not collecting facts. She's exploring your experience. That kind of curiosity often reflects emotional investment of some kind. Not necessarily romantic, but personal. She isn't just hearing your answers. She's trying to understand the person behind them. And that's much rarer than people realize. Most conversations stay on the surface. Weather, work, plans for the weekend, safe topics. But every so often, someone gently opens a door. Not by telling you everything about themselves, by inviting you to tell them something real about yourself. Many men don't expect that. They're so used to feeling like they have to perform, to be interesting, funny, confident, that when someone quietly becomes curious instead, it catches them off guard, almost suspiciously. Because deep down, many men have spent years wondering whether anyone actually wants to know who they are beneath the image they try to project. Maybe you've felt that. You tell stories that make people laugh. You stay calm, reliable, capable. And everyone seems to appreciate those parts of you. But very few ask, how are you? Really? When someone does, your body often reacts before your words. You pause, you look away, you smile. But it's different this time. Smaller, more honest, because being genuinely seen can feel strangely unfamiliar. And that's true for women too. Many women are careful with vulnerability, not because they're hiding, because trust usually grows in layers. One conversation, then another, little by little. Which brings us to something that changes the entire meaning of body language, not what happens while you're together, but what happens after you've been apart. Because there's one subtle behavior that begins long before either of you says a single word. And once you notice it, you'll never walk into the same room the same way again. Before two people speak, before they smile, before anyone says, "Hey, good to see you," something has already happened. Recognition. It arrives quietly, almost invisibly. Imagine walking into a room where several people are talking. Conversations overlap. Someone is laughing across the room. Music is playing softly. She doesn't know you've arrived yet. Or maybe she does. For one brief moment, her attention shifts. Not dramatically, just enough. Her eyes find you. Then they leave again. Nothing unusual. Except, a few seconds later, they return. That second look is often more revealing than the first. The first can happen by chance. The second usually has intention behind it. Not necessarily romantic intention. Sometimes it's simple curiosity. Sometimes familiarity. Sometimes the quiet comfort of seeing someone whose presence feels easy. We naturally check in with people who matter to us in some way. You've probably done it yourself without realizing. You enter a room. Someone you enjoy being around is there. You don't stare. You don't wave immediately. but somehow your eyes keep finding them, almost automatically. It's less about attraction than attention, and attention is where many meaningful connections begin. There's another moment that deserves more attention than it gets. You finally begin talking. Within minutes, the outside world seems to fade. People walk past. Phones vibrate. Someone calls her name from across the room. Yet she doesn't instantly break the conversation. She's present, completely present. In many cases, emotional connection isn't measured by how expressive someone becomes. It's measured by how little they feel the need to escape. Presence is a form of body language, maybe the most underrated one. Because when someone consistently gives you their full attention, they're offering something that can't be faked for very long. Time, focus, energy, those are precious, and people tend to protect what feels precious. But I want to leave you with something even more important. It's easy to watch someone's body language and become obsessed with decoding every glance, every smile, every pause. That road rarely leads to peace. Real confidence grows from a different place. Instead of asking, "Does she like me?" try asking, "How do I feel when I'm with her? Do you feel respected? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel like you're performing every second? Or do you slowly become more yourself?" Because attraction that constantly leaves you anxious isn't always healthy. Sometimes uncertainty is exciting. But over time, genuine connection often feels surprisingly calm. Not boring, calm, like you don't have to earn every moment of attention, like silence isn't frightening, like you can laugh without calculating how you sound, like you don't leave every conversation wondering if you said the wrong thing. Many men spend years searching for perfect signals from women. The irony. The strongest relationships usually aren't built on perfect signals. They're built on repeated moments where both people gradually feel safer showing who they really are. One honest conversation, then another, a shared laugh that wasn't planned, a goodbye that feels just a little harder each time, a message that doesn't feel forced, a silence that doesn't need rescuing. Those ordinary moments become extraordinary only when they're shared with someone who makes you feel understood. And perhaps that's the quiet secret behind body language. It's not a collection of tricks. It's not a hidden code. It's the visible expression of emotions that words haven't caught up with yet. Sometimes you'll misunderstand those signals. Everyone does. Sometimes you'll think someone is interested when they're simply kind. Sometimes you'll miss a connection because you were too busy looking for dramatic signs instead of gentle patterns. That's part of being human. The goal was never to become perfect at reading other people. The goal is to become present enough to notice them, patient enough to avoid rushing to conclusions, and confident enough to know that your own body language matters just as much. Because the most attractive thing you can quietly communicate isn't mystery. It isn't flawless confidence. It's emotional steadiness, the kind that lets another person relax instead of wonder who you'll become tomorrow. And when two people offer each other that kind of safety, words become easier, smiles become more genuine, silence becomes comfortable, and without either person planning it, connection begins to speak long before either of them does.